Oh my God. This is the 2022 Subaru BRZ, and it is an obscene amount of fun to drive. This second generation of the BRZ is not radically different to the first. It's very much a case of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But under the skin, there are a few changes. We've got a larger 2.4 litre four-cylinder engine now, and some of the bodywork is now aluminium in order to save a bit of extra weight. This car's identical twin, the Toyota GR86, will be appearing in showrooms later this year. So to look at this car, yes, it does look quite similar to the old one. Up front, we've got some new headlights that actually remind me of the original version of the Jaguar F-Type. The front grille, which is actually really the only difference between this car and the GR86, has got a cool new shape. There's some active vents at the front there, which help streamline air through the wheel arches. And then on the side here, you can see that there are wheel vents there that are actually active. And I think overall the design looks a lot sportier in this new version than it did in the original BRZ. From the side, you can see just how low down this car rides, and the new model does have slightly more accentuated angles. It's got a bit more of a sexy, curvy sort of shape to it. The wheels are 18 inches and they're finished in this nice sort of matte grey colour, and I think they actually look a bit more expensive than they actually are. But the back is probably where you notice the biggest difference in the look of this car. The rear light clusters look like a combination of Aston Martin, Toyota and Porsche even. Like, they're a really cool design. I think they look much better than the old ones. Under the boot lid, we've got a predictably small storage space, just 201 litres, which you can expand with the rear seat down. It comes down all in one piece. Now, the biggest difference in this car is definitely the engine. It's larger now, still naturally aspirated, 2.4 litres with your choice of 6-speed manual or automatic transmission. Why you would get automatic, I don't really know. That kind of defeats the purpose of this car, but nonetheless, it's there if you want it. And it outputs 174 kilowatts of power and 250 newton meters of torque, which in a car this small is quite a bit, and it really goes. But in all fairness to the automatic, the one thing it does have over the manual is slightly better fuel economy. It averages 8.8 litres per 100 kilometres on a combined cycle, the manual just 9.5. But perhaps the biggest surprise for me is the fact that I actually fit into this car at all, because outwardly it looks tiny, but you know, I'm 190 centimetres tall, so not exactly short, and I'm not cramped at all. I'm very comfortable in here. My head is nowhere near the ceiling. There's plenty of room. My legs aren't squashed in. Everything just feels really good. We've got full reach and tilt adjustment here with the steering wheel. Everything feels very comfortably within reach. I'm not cramped in the least bit. But having said that, the design in here is not exactly at the leading edge of automotive design, and this is where even the older Mazda MX-5 feels a little more plush than this does, because there is a lot of hard, dark plastic all through the cabin. It's not badly designed, it's an interesting design, it just doesn't feel particularly special. Starting with the center console screen, it's 8 inches, it looks pretty good, reasonably sharp graphics. Apparently in the old BRZ, which admittedly I didn't drive, it had a sort of a rebadged version of the Toyota software in there. Now it's got the bespoke Subaru system, and look, it looks pretty good. Everything works well except for maybe the navigation, which I find to be a little bit laggy and a bit slow and a bit fiddly to use. I'd stick with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto if you're going to use the nav. Moving down the console, we've got some nice big dials here for your climate control. They are really easy to use. I really like this big row of switches down here underneath the dials. They look like they control various drive modes and functions within the car, but no, it's just more climate control. Even this big mode button in the middle here, I was pushing it before going, maybe it changes drive modes for me or something like that. But no, it just changes the direction of the air blowing on you. Disappointing. The gear stick has a really good feel to it, nice short throws, notchy mechanical kind of feel to it. Very satisfying to use, especially when you're flooring it and changing gears quickly. Then we've got a couple of drive mode buttons, the electronic stability control and the track mode button, which affects the stability and traction controls, and also changes the configuration of the digital instrument cluster. Heated seat controls just next to that, and note that the only difference between this car, which is the Coupé S, and the regular Coupé is the seats. I'm not joking. That's the only difference. The seats in the Coupé S, this one, are heated, and they also get some suede and leather accents. The regular Coupé just has cloth seats and no heating. That's the only difference. And then we've got a nice big handbrake here, which is really good for parking this car and securing the rear wheels. We've got two cup holders here underneath this mechanical lid, and also that's home to your two USB-A inputs and auxiliary audio input. I mean, I think Subaru are pretty much the only car maker that still puts CD players in their cars, and there's an auxiliary input here. You don't see too many of those anymore. But the only problem with this setup is that there's room for two cups there, but then you have nowhere to put your phone. So if you've got two cups in here, good luck finding anywhere to put your phone. You might need to rest it on the seat here or something like that. Now, some enthusiasts might lament not having analog dials in a car like this, but this digital instrument cluster is actually really, really good. It's been very nicely designed. There's only two display modes, normal and track, and you can cycle through a few different displays on the left-hand side here, including fuel efficiency, G-forces, but my favorite one is this power versus torque dial, where you can see both of them slide up as you accelerate. The steering wheel is perfect for a car this size. It is nice and small, and you feel like you have fantastic control over it. It's not like the Mazda MX-5's wheel, which is too big and too thin. This has a really, really good sporty feel to it. And there's also a cruise control system attached to it on a little third stalk here, which is really, really simple to turn on and off. Visibility out of the BRZ is really, really good in every direction, especially in the blind spots. Actually, you do have a good amount of visibility there, and being such a small car, it's really easy to park. So in order to keep costs down, Subaru have skipped out on a few pieces of tech which are pretty much standard across the board these days. So there's no emergency autonomous braking, there's no front and rear parking sensors, there's no lane keep assist, there's no adaptive cruise control, but you do get blind spot monitoring in the wing mirrors, rear cross traffic alert, and a reversing camera. This car does have an ornamental back seat, which I've got folded down just at the moment, but no one is getting in there realistically. I mean, my kids can't get in there comfortably, even with me and my seat all the way forward. It just doesn't work. I think the only people who are going to fit in that back seat are babies, which you can do because there are ISOFIX points and top tether points for a baby capsule, but even then, it's kind of limited. So the BRZ is indeed fantastic fun to drive, and I mean, it's cars like this that I think people will keep on buying in years to come, even once electric cars are taking care of our daily commute. People will have cars like this for the weekend to run around in. Just like the Mazda MX-5, the manual transmission in this car is tremendously easy and forgiving to use. If you've never driven a manual before, you could almost learn how to do it in this car. It is so easy to use. The clutch is nice, it has a good feel to it. It's not too firm and it's not too soft, it's just in the right spot. Being such a small dynamic car, it's really easy to zip around in traffic. Like if you're stuck in medium density traffic on the freeway and you can see an empty spot in the lane next to you, it's just so easy to just put your foot down, change gears and get in there. It's so much fun to do. But of course, all of this agility and fun does come at a bit of a cost, and I'm not talking about what you're paying the dealer, I'm talking about the noise in the cabin. It is really noisy in here. 0 to 100 in the Subaru BRZ is 6.5 seconds, which looks and feels a bit like this. Yeah, that's good. That's fun. This just feels so authentic. It's like, this is proper driving. So I guess a not unreasonable question to ask would be, which one should you buy, the Subaru BRZ or the Toyota GR86? And the answer to that question is, I've got no idea. I haven't driven the GR86, it's not available in Australia yet, it's still a few months away. The BRZ is in showrooms now, so I guess it comes down to brand loyalty and are you patient or not? Unless you're a die-hard Toyota fan, why wait? Go out and get a BRZ right now.